out the political parties bill and the state offices bill, and then we bring it to closure. Basically, the way dictatorships work, where you have a constitutional provision for multi-party democracy such as ours, is that you first kill the parties and then you control parliament. And that's what exactly is happening. And therefore, your delegates decided that the mischief that is in the Political Parties Act had to be cured both in the Constitution and also in the Act itself. You people will remember, you honorables will remember, that in order to contain those who are defecting from KANU in 1966, a defection law was created. That when KANU crossed the floor in 1964 and joined KANU, there was no by-election because there was no law stopping you from crossing the floor. But when it came to members crossing to KPU, a law was brought that if you resign from the party that sponsored you at the last general election, then you must go and seek a new mandate. Then the question was asked then that, why did you bring it when KANU was being brought? But in hindsight, it was meant for sanitizing the political process. But the regime then even applied it retrospectively. Because on the first day, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives, 29 members had crossed. And they had crossed under the existing law. So a new law was rushed in Parliament to say that the law would apply retrospectively. Absurd as it was, Parliament was interpreting the same law that it had created. Now, after that, you'll remember that as soon as we went to multipartyism, whenever you showed allegiance to a different political party, you had to resign. Whether you are Tom Obondo, whether you are Pili Wawire, whether you are Japheth Chamala, you had to go back to the electorate. Then the Political Parties Act came. And they brought this term called deeming. Deeming. And lawyers will tell you that deeming is a moving target. It's not constant. So one of the issues that your members wanted cured, so that those who have used the party ticket don't come and say that you can't deem me that I've been defected. So they replaced deemed with deregistration. So that the part, which is a club, which has a constitution, which has rules, which has regulations, which has code of conduct, that you sign up to when you join, if you violate that party's constitution, rules, regulations, and that party deregisters you, and you go through the court process that has to be finished within 90 days, and it is so, then it won't be that again, bado niko hapo. So it was curing this, and I can tell you there's going to be a fight back, because that's one of the clauses which they tried to fight, but your delegates stood firm and said that that must be included. So you must watch out for that. It's now both in 103 and in the Political Parties Act. The other issue that was determined there was that a one-person institution where you have one individual, the registrar of political parties, they have assistants, but it's a one-person institution, had to be cured because we are all human beings. We are all human beings. When this government is in power, unasikia huyo. When another one comes, unamsikia. So Kioni might wonder, oh, what has happened to this registrar? It's just, nothing has happened. It's simply that a new boss has come that they can give orders. And therefore, what your delegates decided was that we amend that Political Parties Act so that instead of having the office of registrar of political parties, you now have a political party regulatory commission consisting of 5 members, 2 members nominated by the majority party or coalition, 2 members nominated by the minority party and coalition, and 1 member nominated by the Parliamentary Service Commission to represent non-parliamentary parties. And those five, once they are appointed, will sit down and nominate or elect who becomes the chair and who becomes the deputy, and the chair and deputy will be of different genders. Will be, network, will be of different gender. Shall be. So the rest are there. Then let me come to where we disagreed with them, where your delegates disagreed with them, but also a middle ground had to be reached on the creation of state offices. And their interest was in constitutionalizing the Prime Minister's office. And in order to get a buy-in, they also proposed the leader of official position. The position that you, through your leaders, had agreed on was that such an amendment would change the governance architecture under the current constitutional framework, and that those amendments would require a referendum. Kenya Kwanza was of the view that those amendments can be done through the parliamentary initiative as long as those officers are not members of parliament. In other words, they become ex officio. So as a way of agreeing to disagree, if you read the NADCO report, Azimio said that yes, there's need for a rejigging of the governance structure, but it will require a referendum. Kenya Kwanza said, yes, there's a need, it doesn't require a referendum. So to that extent, bills were brought on the prime cabinet. They're now calling it the prime minister, not prime cabinet secretary. The prime minister and the leader of official opposition. And they are not going to be members of parliament. Your delegates decided that, okay, we don't know what will happen to it. We are sure Kenyans will go to court over it. But should it pass without any constitutional challenges or even courts approve it, then your delegates said that since they are playing politics with the prime cabinet secretary's post, we also must play politics with the leader of official opposition. They just wanted one office, but your delegates insisted that that office of the leader of official opposition must have 2 deputies. So the leader of official opposition bill has the leader of official opposition and has 2 deputies who shall be state-funded because they shall be a kind of shadowing the government and therefore have to be funded from the government. So when you see it, it's not that Azimio delegates abandoned what had been agreed on. It was simply that Azimio said it goes to a referendum, they said it goes through parliament, and therefore you couldn't stop them from pushing what they wanted, and that is what is in place now. So I think, let me stop there, but call Ndego and Njiru, and then from then we will open it up for discussion. Honorable Kioni will come at the tail end once the questions have been asked.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, members of the